So I know this got lost in everything that's going on in Minneapolis and Minnesota, and it should. But it's something. There's something you should know about the military and what is happening with the Venezuela strikes. The first strike since Maduro's capture took place yesterday, and it killed two and left one survivor. That survivor was rescued. There was a notification to the Coast Guard to activate its search and rescue procedure, and that survivor was rescued. And that was put in a tweet by U.S. Southcom, which mentioned the survivor. That is now the second time that there have been survivors of kinetic strikes since September 2nd, when the infamous double tap event happened, where two survivors were executed. Basically, they were not a harm, they were not a threat, and they were executed while they were trying to get help. That was where all of the testifying took place and the congressional hearings with Hegseth, and that has unfortunately kind of faded into the background. um, but in October 16th, there were two survivors that were rescued, and one was sent to Honduras, one was sent to Colombia. They were extradited there after their capture, after their rescue. So, in two separate incidents since September 2nd, there have been survivors of these strikes, and in both of those cases, they have been rescued. Should those people have been killed in the first place, the other people on the vessels? Probably not, but something has changed since all of the attention on September 2nd and that double tap, and all of the pressure on Admiral Bradley, who was in charge of Joint Special Operations Center at the time and is now in charge of U.S. Southcom. He was not in charge of the strikes on October 16th. That is Army General Braga, who took over, and he's in charge now of JSOC. And so that changing, where survivors are now being rescued and Southcom is mentioning the survivors as well. I think that there was a line that was crossed behind the scenes, and the military basically said, "We're not going to be a part of this anymore." And or maybe it was just Braga who said, "I'm not going to be a part of this. I am not going to do this." And maybe that's the case, but it's something that you should be aware of. I know that there's a lot of trepidation, there's a lot of apprehension about the military, and worrying that they'll do whatever Trump tells them to do. And I don't think that's the case, and I've always said that, but I think this is one of those things, or examples of that, where there was a line that was crossed, likely by Bradley and Hegseth on September 2nd, and there was such uproar, not only just in public but also behind the scenes, that they changed they changed that. And so please take that as some small solace that there are lines that the military won't cross. I believe that, and that they have changed their ways. Would Hegseth continue to do it? I absolutely think he would continue to do it if there weren't the pushback from the public, you and me, and also pushback from within the military. And I think the military is the most important one, because if military leaders were not pushing back in a unified fashion, I think he would continue to do it. They wouldn't give a shit about what we think. Because, I mean, why would they start now? But yeah, just take that and put it in your back pocket for later on, when we start to get all of this extra fear that gets pushed by this administration about the military coming in and take over, and the Insurrection Act and all of those things. There are lines that the military will not cross, and we're talking about targets, in the southern hemisphere, against Venezuela, labeled narco terrorists, you name it. We're not talking about the potential use of the military on U.S. citizens here. So if you want to talk of lines, that's the one. So please take, yeah, some kind of solace, some kind of, maybe breath of relief in knowing that that is happening. Again, this got lost in all the news with everything happening in Minneapolis, but I do take it as a good sign, and I hope you do as well. The military will not cross certain lines. So, thanks.